God damn it.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No. It's
Rain delay radio.
Votre thérapie d'aller en partie. Si, ça quand même.
about lions?
Oh, God damn it.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No.
Rain delay, 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 radio, 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 rain delay, radio.
Allo e me la me la su cernoli morli.
Rain delay, rain delay, rain delay, rain delay, rain delay, rain delay, rain delay.
And welcome to Rain Delay Radio. This is your producer, Sam, aka Devard, joined by your host, Slander Bob. Yes. It's a very, very rusty one. I think I see a rat corpse. Oh. At least that cockroach found a nice place to raise their family. Yeah. He's sitting in. Okay, let me just pull that up. And that is www.nationalcynical.com. Oh, we're We're not editing this for a 13. Yeah, she called her a feckless cunt, which is kind of weird considering that she has to adhere to standards and practices, and the disobedience of said practices and standards is feckless by definition. So she actually ended up calling herself a feckless cunt. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Wait. Get the mic. All right, we are back after some technical difficulty. I take it you were monitoring to make sure that we were still going with this.
Yes, we are. We are back on. Yes,
Okay.
I can confirm that. Okay.
I was wondering why I was getting a little bit of feedback.
Yeah, if we ever go off the air like that, feel free to send us a message on Twitter, send us a message in the Discord that you can't hear us, and that way we know to fix these things.
Oh, it's okay. In this case, it was relatively minor operator error. I just selected the wrong audio device to capture from.
Oh, that's why we have these little beta tests. So
Yeah, I thought it was something wrong with OBS, but it was actually just my brain.
it's always your brain.
Okay, so I guess we should get the rundown again and then go into the...
Yes. To really quickly, since we're going to be doing a quick show tonight, we're running through 3 topics. We're talking about Samantha Bee's comments towards Ivanka Trump. We're talking about a $4 jury verdict that awarded a family of a police shooting victim $4. And then we're talking about Trump pardoning Dinesh D'Souza, the filmmaker and author. Now, as I was reading from the Deadline.com article, and we'll go over this really quickly, the White House this morning blasted Samantha Bee and TBS over Bee having called White House staffer / first daughter Ivanka Trump a feckless cunt in a segment about President Donald Trump's immigration policy. The language used by Samantha Bee last night is vile and vicious. The collective silence by the left and its media allies is appalling, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said in a statement. Her disgusting comments and show are not fit for broadcast, and executives at Time Warner and TBS must demonstrate that such explicit profanity about female members of this administration will not be condoned on this network. TBS has not responded, but has pulled the video. Though it had mostly been conservative critics blasting away at Bee this morning, CNN joined in also this morning. Let me just say, one parent to another, parent of a daughter, no, 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 CNN's John King said of Bee's remark shortly after the White House issued the statement. Criticize the president's daughter, criticize the policy. Some things just aren't funny, King insisted. Roseanne's racism is not funny. Samantha Bee using that word is not funny. Sarah Sanders just called it vile and vicious language. I could not agree more, he continued. CNN and TBS are both networks of Time Warner, which is awaiting news as to the fate of its plans to merge with AT&T. CNN is owned by Time Warner. This is a family issue, if you will, King acknowledged on air. Apologize, and the company, forgive me, I work here, but the company should say something too, the CNN veteran said. CNN stopped short of the conservative cry for TBS to cancel her show in much same way that ABC canceled Roseanne Barr's comedy series this week after she compared former Obama advisor Valerie Jarrett to an ape in a tweet. Among conservatives leading the charge this morning, Michelle Malkin said, quote, alas, there is nothing Samantha Bee can do about her potty-mouthed and pea-sized brain, end quote. And Liz Wheeler said she was, quote, waiting for the liberal outrage and firing of Samantha Bee for calling Ivanka Trump a feckless cunt on the air. Former Fox News primetime star Megyn Kelly, now hosting the third hour of NBC's Today Show, also joined in, calling Bee's remark disgusting and called hypocrites of those media outlets that gleefully posted video of Bee's segment without denouncing it. The Federalist's Mary Catherine Ham, a regular conservative talking head on CNN, dipped that cable news network's toe into these waters very early this morning during a segment about President Donald Trump's latest tweet demanding an apology from Disney CEO Bob Iger. 2 days earlier, Bob Iger canceled Roseanne while apologizing to Valerie Jarrett over the racial slur directed at her by the show's Trump-supporting star. Trump is, quote, not entitled to apologies from news outlets just criticizing him, Ham acknowledged. But she pivoted abruptly. You can recognize the racism of Roseanne and that she should have been punished for it socially, and recognize that there is a double standard. Samantha Bee called Ivanka Trump a feckless word I cannot say that begins with a C. That is the worst word you can call a woman on TV. And there will not be a 9-day news cycle about that, Ham complained.
I can say it.
Yeah, we can say it too.
Most people can say it. It's just,
Yeah. And
Rhymes with bunt.
yeah.
yes. Oh, we were taught when I worked in college radio that it was a cunning runt.
I heard it was F after U right before C and K. Oh, and sometimes U.
Yep.
I think that, the news critics are right. There is a definite double standard in this because racial slurs or sexist slurs are slurs. And freedom of speech is present in our society, but it is not consequence.
Well, freedom of consequence from private actors like a company that needs to maintain its brand. I mean,
Right.
the Roseanne reboot was hopeful at best.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
Yeah.
you can
And now,
try to update it, but it's very much a product of its time. And just like many things that are a product of its time, it doesn't work so well when you try to modernize it.
do you think that Samantha Bee just threw a huge monkey wrench into the machinery of the CNN, Time Warner, AT&T merger?
Oh yeah, definitely. If it comes down to the point where this person reasonably has influence to the point where
She's a brand ambassador, put it that way.
Yeah, she has the influence of advertisers, of her writing staff. It's just so many people that she's got to be accountable to, and that's kind of why I like our format. We're not really accountable to anybody. As long as we make the content that we feel comfortable with, that's good enough for us.
Well, you're never going to please everyone in your audience. That's the
Accountable
thing.
to YouTube.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
Yeah.
There are standards and practices.
There are a lot of standards and practices even with YouTube. I have to admit, there are hours upon hours of courses that I could take just going over the standards and practices for this particular platform. But at the same time, cable news is a lot more, how do I put this? YouTube pretty much works through Alphabet and AdSense to serve the mid-roll and stuff. But I know we're talking money on air. That's kind of distasteful, but
I like money.
Yeah,
I do too.
I like money too.
So talk away, brother.
Okay, so in order to get that mid-roll, they pretty much go through Alphabet, whereas the networks negotiate fairly hands-on. And I think that's where networks, even though they're kind of a dinosaur format, are keeping their edge, is because they have a funding model. This stuff does not have a funding model outside of public support. And the aforementioned AdSense, which we're probably not getting any of that anytime soon.
Well, you never know. I mean, if people do want to support our stream, go to streamlabs.com/rain delay radio. The link is below the description.
But the main thing, I think this Samantha Bee thing teaches us is that if you start throwing really big stones in a glass house, you're probably going to be homeless in a matter of weeks.
And full of nice little cuts all over your body from the shards.
Oh yeah, that too.
But I think that there's going to be a push for a boycott of Samantha Bee's sponsors on her show. And it might not take the way that Trump and the Republicans want it to take, but I think eventually you're looking at probably the end of Samantha Bee's run on TBS. I mean, I hate to say it, TBS doesn't have anything ready to go to put in her place. They're going to have to scramble to find a new host, and probably quick.
Be fair, Larry Wilmore's not doing any work. Hint, hint. Please bring him back.
You like Wilmore, or are you being sarcastic?
I liked Wilmore's earlier stuff when he stuck more to like the Catskills, Jewish humor kind of shtick.
Yeah.
But when he tried to branch out into the quote-unquote urban demographic, he just lost everything that made his persona this unique mishmash of Harlem and upstate New York.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there, man. When he first came on the Daily Show, when I first caught wind of him, I liked him. And then, just something happened down the road that just turned me off the guy. And did you see the Real Time with Bill Maher when he was getting pissed off at Milo?
Oh, yeah. That was
It
so
wasn't a good look
sad.
for him, man. He's better than that, and I just like watching him lose his shit over Milo, who's obviously trolling everybody there.
Yeah, Milo is one of my favorite trolls, if I'm going to be
I
perfectly
love
honest.
Milo. I think he's hilarious.
Yeah, he can literally sit in a crowded auditorium wearing a stripper outfit, reading facts off of an iPod, and people will still find that offensive and controversial.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful gimmick, and it
really is.
Well, now getting back to standards and practices, and this is something that TBS has spoofed in Aqua Teen Hunger Force, is that standards and practices. Yeah, I've seen like Squidbillies episodes where they're using the words shit and asshole and things like that. Now they do bleep out the fuck profanity, but what can you do? It's the laws of safe harbor.
Yeah.
And the question is, was Samantha Bee's show airing during safe harbor, and was there sufficient warnings that this was going to be a mature content show? Was there a TVMA label on her show?
Oh, okay. I see what happened here. You're misapplying the FCC statutes to cable television.
Oh.
Yeah, they have their own internal set of practices and standards and stuff, but the FCC statutes, unless you're dealing with the engineering aspect of it, as far as how much wattage you can broadcast and so on, it's not a big deal. At least not as big a deal as it is in radio and network television. Even though cable uses a network model, but it gets complicated.
There is kind of a tweaked standard for that, where I remember back in the day you would have HBO and they would show movies uncut, and you would hear all the choice profanities in them.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you have some sort of bump at the beginning, or you're in safe harbor, then go ahead, show the risque stuff. But if you're a primetime talk show and you're supposed to be covering topics to a general audience and tailoring your humor to a general audience, I think that's where things like Feckless Cunt come out, is because the people in the writing room get tired of writing 6th grade reading level schlock. They really do. And just because it's pandered to the left or pandered to the right doesn't take away the fact that it's just schlock. It's meaningless ephemera that they cobbled together to sound pithy. And none of the funny is there anymore. You need a juxtaposition or the incongruity to kind of mess with people's expectations. If you don't mess with people's expectations, it's not comedy.
Now, would Lenny Bruce, would his comedy still be playable even today?
Oh, his comedy is as dull as a butter knife nowadays. Like when the whole frat tire thing went bust, Tucker Max and Maddox and all those guys, they were basically doing what Lenny Bruce was doing in a comedy club, but they were doing it behind their keyboards. And you can still kind of get laughs with that kind of material. Like, I don't know, I would prefer rehashing Buddy Hackett nowadays, because Buddy Hackett kind of just made funny words, put them together, and also made them have an offensive denotation, which is the greatest part about it.
Oh, like his famous joke, which has absolutely no punchline, but it just opens, two fags are fucking a dead alligator.
Yeah, like that kind of icebreaker, 10 times better than anything Michelle Wolf has ever put on tape, hands down. Or Samantha Bee, for that matter. More to the point. Even though Samantha Bee is funnier, in my opinion, but not by much. That's like saying...
Would she have been funny in the Ghostbusters all-female reboot?
Considering that suffered from not enough straight men and too many funny men, no. Like, she just has this Rule 63 Bobcat Goldthwait going on, you know?
Yeah.
She can't play a straight man to save her life. And I think that's one of the most limiting things about female quote-unquote comedians nowadays, is because they always want to get the funny man laughs. They never want to get the laughs on React. They never want to balance off of their troupe. They just want to be, hey, it's just basically going, hey, we can make this comedy. It's all just, hey, remember this guy? He was in the original. If you don't like this because, you know, we got the guy in the original, then you are sexist. And it just came across as the most desperate cash grab in the world. And I've worked some pretty horrendous Joe jobs for the money. I've gotten burnt on grease traps because I just needed the money. But that kind of degradation to just go, hey, I'm going to take this thing that people really like, and then I'm going to put my politics into it, is like going, hey, here's this family. Yes, let's just leave it at the aristocrats.
Yes. Now, I think the best solution probably is going to be if Samantha Bee has a private chat with Ivanka Trump, and they work out their differences, and Samantha Bee makes like a donation to
rich girl apology. Be like, hey, I'm sorry, here's a donation to charity, which is
exactly
kind of the Jewish way of doing things, but the less said about that, the better.
All right, Slander Bob, did you have anything more to say about
numb to that shit? I mean, I'm not mad about it anymore.
that? You know, really, in all honesty, he's just going to go away in 4 years anyway. So, but anyway, let's get on to our second topic today, and that is the jury awarding the family of a police shooting victim exactly $4. And I'll read briefly from the CNN article. A Florida family is heartbroken after a jury awarded $4 in damages for funeral expenses and pain and suffering in a case in which a St. Lucie County deputy fatally shot a father of three through his garage door, the family's attorney said Thursday. Deputy Christopher Newman killed Gregory Hill Jr., 30, in 2014 after a mother picking up her child at school across the street called in a noise complaint. Newman and another deputy responded to Hill's home. Hill partially opened the doors were filed against Newman, who said he shot Hill because he brandished a handgun. Hill's mother, Viola Bryant, 18th Amendment rights. Bryant also accused a SWAT team that responded to the scene, firing so much tear gas and causing so much damage to Hill's one-story home that no one can live in it now. Okay, so yeah, this is really an interesting case because the jury obviously thought that the police had, you know, some culpability in this, but they didn't feel that the family had merited enough reward for that.
Well, that's the thing. If we're looking at this from purely a legal standpoint, and not so much injecting the racial issue into it, I mean, if you give consent to an officer that, you know, hey, Mr. Officer, you can enter here or you can be in this place lawfully, and then you proceed to fortify your residence against that officer, that's not good. Like, if anything to be said, that's a single thing that you absolutely do not ever do to someone who is in a position of authority. I understand.
Yeah,
guy was in
considering
his
that-
own domicile. That much, I get it. People need to check up on him, and I think the nominal reward, the fact that it was $4, is because of the fact that this was due to some nuisance complaint. You know, somebody said loud music was being played at the residence or something, and that constitutes domestic disturbance, which in turn means that the police technically don't need anything other than your full and earnest cooperation. And the minute that you withdraw that cooperation, I mean, obviously the $4 is there to remind them, hey, don't shoot people when they're just immediately fortifying their residence, because that's kind of how things like Waco start. So there was some fault found, however, it wasn't enough to determine that this person acted so recklessly that they deserved some larger amount.
Well, the act of opening a garage door and then suddenly closing it is going to cause a cop to panic, because they're thinking, okay, does this guy have a weapon behind this garage door?
Yeah, if that's the one thing I would absolutely do not do unless you have small animals in the house, is in any way, once you open that door, you better accept whoever's coming in.
No shit.
It's like, if anything else, you go, hey, please get a warrant. You know, if it's not a property search, because this wasn't a property search, that technically doesn't apply here. It was a domestic complaint, and domestic complaints have their own rule, which is basically, you knock. If they don't come to this door, you break down the door.
Well, was he already outside the garage? Because if he's already outside the garage, then, you know, he's obviously not in property.
Oh, if he's outside the garage and he's going in and closing the garage, that's fleeing to elude. He doesn't even need to catch any additional charges. That's a charge in and of itself.
And that could have been how the jury saw it, and they just decided, well, yeah, the police did kind of act a little inappropriately, but, well, we can't think that they had any choice on this.
Yeah, I'm going to be perfectly honest. This guy should still be alive today, and a lot of this has to do with, you know, mistrust, a bit of mistrust. I mean, there's something to be said for a healthy amount of disrespect for authority, because that's how progress gets made. But if you are in the process of complying with a lawful given order that someone is executing in response to a noise complaint, and then you withdraw from compliance, that opens up Pandora's box of legal troubles, not to mention possible hot lead injections in this case.
Well, we've seen on shows like Cop TV where, like, if the man being pulled over by the cops has a disability, and in this case, they pulled over like an Iraq war veteran who had a prosthetic leg, that they're going to be a little bit lenient on certain things. They're not going to say walk backwards.
You have to be a little bit lenient in those circumstances, because what people don't realize is that precincts can actually catch these lawsuits. Like, they don't win every single one, despite what Black Lives Matter or other groups would tell you. If the person ends up surviving and is severely injured, there's a good chance that they're in settlement money for the rest of their lives. Like, essentially, the FOP just pays them an annuity to shut up about it. I'm not saying that you should go out and get yourself shot by a cop, but
right,
there are ways in which the current structure takes care of these edge cases.
Now, the bringing up the 14th and the 15th Amendment, do those apply?
14th is equal protection under the law, and 15th is, if I remember correctly, the right of blacks to vote. So, no.
Well, let me do a check on that really quick. 15th.
All right. Also, Randolph, can you put some links in the chat to some of these articles?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or shoot them in the Discord, and I'll post them.
Sure, no problem.
14th, 15th. Yeah. 15th is suffrage cannot be denied on account of race or color, and 14th is just basically saying, hey, everybody's equal under the law.
That's kind of a stretch because, he could have been denied his 15th Amendment rights and still be alive if he, complied. But,
Yeah, it says oh, wait, no, not suffrage. It says essentially, hey, guys, you can't.
Yeah.
It's
15
rights to vote. So, okay, so it did include suffrage. Oh, I was reading or previous condition of servitude, and my brain jumbled that up and thought it was a separate clause. So, yeah.
Yeah, 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution prohibits the federal and state governments from denying a citizen the right to vote based on that citizen's race, color, or previous condition of servitude. It was ratified on February 3rd, 1870, as the third and last of the Reconstruction Amendments. That's a mighty stretch right there. I think that lawyer was trying to just throw amendment numbers out there and hope that it felt, its presence was felt on the jury.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with the tortious complaint. I'm starting to see why the $4 now, because let me put it this way. This guy was basically a dog bite attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought he could somehow squeeze the legitimate means of coercion for enforcing all contracts within a jurisdiction out of money. That's not a good idea, by the way. That should never be your go-to idea.
So they literally went with they literally went with Jimmy McGill from Better Call Saul, and he just washed out completely.
More like Lionel Hutz.
Oh,
yeah, that's
nice little Simpsons reference there. Good one.
Yeah, that's the common slang for one of these attorneys. An ambulance chaser also would work.
Mr. Simpson, I've handled hundreds of cases. In fact, I've got an active case against the Julius. But yeah, the $4, it can't be just $4 for that. I mean, they're going to have to be awarded something for like legal fees.
If they can't prove that the defense brought a bad faith argument to court or attempted to unlawfully intervene in the prosecution's or the movement's legal strategy in this case, they can't seek costs. It's only if the defendant acted in bad faith in most jurisdictions, because this was a wrongful death tort.
Right.
So that would be, I'm trying to think, because usually when you're asking for costs, you're usually asking for your attorney's fees and any assorted document costs and that sort of thing. And even then, there's a very strict rule, which is Rule 11, which determines how much an attorney can charge, and that's based off of things that the judge considers when awarding the final verdict.
Well, the idea of a $1 verdict is not unheard of. It happened.
Oh, yeah. I brought up the legal terminology for this is nominal consideration or nominal award. I'm sure you can go watch the Leonard French videos. Those are a much better explanatory source than I am. But like I said, the main reason that this nominal award was given was because there was some evidence of a, for lack of a better word, a first crime. And it just so happens in this case that it's a literal crime fleeing to elude.
Right. Yeah, the act of closing a garage door after you've opened it for the police, that is basically fleeing to elude. So it's sad and regrettable. Now, I did post a couple of photos in Discord for that, and that shows Gregory Hill's family, and another one of actor Jesse L. Martin from the TV show Law and Order, which I think is almost like dead on Gregory Hill Jr. Do you see those?
I see the Hill
Scroll up
family
a little
photo.
Like the one has Jesse L. Martin in a suit with a silver tie. But it's almost like, you're looking at the casting for the Oprah Network movie of the week.
Oh, yeah. Is eerie how many of these people, how many of these locales aren't like the Russell Greer goblin type? And I know I've rather goblin appearance, so big talk of me saying that. But more and more, these people are kind of conforming into what people would consider a functional member of society, except they hold very, destructive ideas about everything from medicine to physics, and it's just tearing our society apart, eating it up from the inside. But one of the more hazardous beliefs, going back to the Hill family case, is the belief that you can somehow just fuck the police and that makes you invisible. It's not true. You still have to respect law enforcement and, at least to some degree. I'm not saying go out and lick every policeman's boots. Please don't. That's a good way of getting an infection. But
no, just remember the magic words are, "Am I being detained, officer?"
Yes, you need to know that. If the answer is ever yes, you are
then I invoke my right to counsel and my right to remain silent.
Yeah.
And I am traveling.
Yep. Oh, that'll give a few wry looks, but they'll be like, at least this one didn't, shit himself or spit on us this time.
Right. God damn it.
Sovereign citizens.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why the concept of body cams, and if they played the body cam footage for the jury, which it wouldn't surprise me if they did. The body cam footage would probably show that it was a tense situation. The act of closing the door suddenly led the officers to suspect that he had a weapon behind the door.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the weird thing about this complaint, because in a nuisance...
It was a noise complaint.
Yeah, in a nuisance complaint, you should have no immediate fear of jeopardy. Like, you should just be able to come out of your domicile or talk to the officer through the door, or if you're one of those guys who likes to make cops tea and cookies, invite them in. And, just deal. Spend the bare minimum of time possible with that person, because they're an officer of the law. They have more important things to do, and just enjoy the rest of your life. That's all you have to do, is just not so much be a doormat to law enforcement, but just go, hey, I put this plan into action. I'm going to accept the consequences. If somebody who is waving you down, flashing their badge, and saying, we received a complaint, and your first result is to fortify your your first plan of action is to fortify your residence after displaying an inviting environment, which is a legal term in and of itself. I mean, you just gotta think, do I want this decision coming back to haunt me? And
that's typically, how most people should think that way, when the situation with the cops like that. Unfortunately, that's usually not the result. Yeah.
I've been pulled over.
Think about their actions. We wouldn't have all these fucking, problems with the cops, I think.
Yeah, I've been pulled over. I've been controlled at planned stops. You know, even razzed a bit, and it's just kind of like you take it on the chin. You just go, hey, these guys are giving me a hard time because they're out here in the middle of nowhere at 2 a.m. looking for people, you know, trying to smuggle anhydrous. I just happened to come across here because my friend lives, you know, some ways away, and they're just giving you a hard time because it's their job.
Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest problem I continuously see, and it's like everybody who's ever been pulled by the cops more than
you still there?
like, talk down to you to escalate. Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, I've seen cops, you know, just talk down to people and try to say things to escalate the situation. You know, and that's really where a lot of the problems lie, I think, with dealing with cops in general. I mean, they're not all like that, but I mean, there's always, especially if you get like a bunch of cops to pull you over, like 2 or 3 cars, almost 100% guarantee one of them's going to talk some shit to you if it's in a situation where they can, to see what you're going to do.
Oh yeah, especially at controlled stops or checkpoints.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially checkpoints, because the minute they bust somebody, they get to go home, or after filing a mountain of paperwork. But after that, they get to go home, and they just really want to go home.
It's all in how you act when the cops pull you over. Because
I mean, you
Pull you
gotta
over on your domicile. I mean, pretty much anywhere.
yeah,
That's the thing.
yeah.
If you're there legally, chances are the cops are allowed to be there legally. So you just kind of have to deal with it. It's just a part of life. Like
Hey, I've been
and
pulled
taxes.
over. I've been pulled over on a Friday the 13th with a Dr. Grabo pipe stuffed with the dankest frop hidden under my seat, and I walked away from it with just a traffic ticket for turning on a yellow sign.
Man, that's how you know that guy's got to make quota. Because yes, they can enforce that. Will they usually? No.
Yeah, I was like, "Yes, sir, officer. I know I did. I'm sorry about that." And fortunately, I hadn't smoked anything from that pipe, so he knew I was sober. I wasn't giving off any kind of an odor, but damn, was I nervous for that Dr. Grabo pipe I had under my seat.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't really have to do that much to keep them off your back.
Yeah, I mean, you just act nice and polite and friendly, and 9 times out of 10, they'll just write you a citation and just go ahead and you'll be on your.
Yeah, and that whole thing about getting your back up, that's because people who are doing greasy things tend to be very irascible and defensive, so they're on a fishing expedition. It's like, don't take it so personally, and maybe you can get through life a little bit better. That would be my hope, that everybody can get through life a little bit better.
I mean, it's just like, you know, it's for some people, it's the hardest fucking thing to sit there and play the game and go, yes, sir, no, sir, and just keep your composure. I mean, yeah, I watch tons of those videos on YouTube. It's one of my favorite things to do when I'm just like trying to like just waste time for no reason. Is watch the videos of people getting pulled over and see the reactions and how people deal with the situation. And it's insane the amount of people who just won't sit there and yes, sir, no, sir, and just, you know, keep your fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done for a lot of people.
That's something, because I'm normally a pretty irascible guy, but the minute the law shows up, I'm pretty much like, yes sir, no sir, you know, whatever you need to do your job, sir.
I mean, to a point. I mean, I'm not going to bend over and let them fuck me, but it's.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to hand them the evidence, but I'll do everything except that.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with this, you know, showing a little respect and just, you know, what are you trying to do here? And then, you know, as the situation presents itself, you know, are these guys trying to, you know, go out of their way to fuck me, or are they just trying to do their job, you know? And it's pretty easy to figure that out within the first, you know, minute or two of being in a situation where you're pulled over.
Yeah. So I think we have
I
another
think,
one.
yeah, we've covered that topic. So
This guy looks like an Indian version of Mr. Bean. That's who I thought it was. What is his name again?
Gregory Hill.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Dinesh D'Souza, which is our third topic
yeah.
for the show.
Oh yeah, that's not Gregory Hill. Yeah, that's
I'm
Dinesh.
looking at our links, so I got to jump the gun on that one. That's where we're going next, anyway, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we're talking about the Trump pardons here.
Gotcha.
So, all right, I'll bring up our third topic here, and this is from the New York Times. Trump pardons Dinesh D'Souza, weighs leniency for Rod Blagojevich and Martha Stewart. President Trump on Thursday pardoned Dinesh D'Souza, a conservative author, commentator, and filmmaker, and said he was strongly considering commuting the sentence of former Governor Rod R. Blagojevich of Illinois, a Democrat. Flexing his clemency power as he and his team face multiple criminal investigations of their own, Mr. Trump also said that he was thinking about the case of Martha Stewart, the lifestyle mogul who spent 5 months in prison for lying to investigators about the timing of a stock sale. The president was focusing on cases where he argued that the justice system had unfairly treated celebrity figures, all of whom were convicted of crimes that in some way mirrored charges that have been made or mentioned in connection with allies of Mr. Trump in recent weeks, including campaign finance violations and lying to investigators. All three have connections, if sometimes distant, to Mr. Trump, either through political allies or at his time in the private sector. Senator Ted Cruz, a Texas Republican who greeted Mr. Trump as he arrived for a visit to Houston on Thursday, pushed for the pardon of Mr. D'Souza. Mr. Blagojevich appeared on Celebrity Apprentice, Mr. Trump's reality show, and Miss Stewart hosted an Apprentice spin-off show. Let's see. Moreover, all three of the cases were tied to prosecutors who have become nemesises of the president. Mr. D'Souza was prosecuted by Preet Bharara, the United States Attorney in New York, was fired by Mr. Trump last year and has been one of his fiercest critics. Ms. Stewart was prosecuted by James B. Comey, the FBI director who was fired by Mr. Trump last year and has engaged in a running war of words ever since. As for Mr. Blagojevich, he was prosecuted by Patrick J. Fitzgerald, a close friend and colleague of Mr. Comey. Mr. Trump previously pardoned I. Lewis Libby Jr., a top aide to former Vice President Dick Cheney, who was also prosecuted by Mr. Fitzgerald. Mr. D'Souza made a direct link to Mr. Bharara's conflict with Mr. Trump after the pardon on Thursday. Karma is a bitch department. Preet Bharara wanted to destroy a fellow Indian American to advance his career, he wrote on Twitter. Then he got fired and I got pardoned. I'm actually going to send you that here. I've got a screenshot of that. Okay? So, yeah, we'll go ahead and discuss this topic real quick. Trump giving these pardons out now, usually presidential pardons are reserved the last days of his term in office before a new president takes over.
The last couple of months.
Yeah, and it's just like, Trump pardons people on a whim now, like Joe Arapaho.
Well, I think that's kind of the great thing about it is because he's using his power as the chief enforcer of this nation's laws as he sees fit. And that's ultimately what we have. We have an individual mandate or individual conscious mandate rather than any sort of electoral mandate. And if he wants to pardon Dinesh D'Souza while sitting on beanbag naked, eating mint chocolate chip ice cream straight out of the tub, that's his prerogative as president.
Yep.
So he's given a pardon to Blagojevich?
Mm-hmm.
Clemency for D'Souza, or pardon for D'Souza, weighing clemency for Martha Stewart and Rod Blagojevich.
It would commute the rest of Blagojevich's sentence, but it would not erase it from his record. Blagojevich was convicted of trying to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat after Barack Obama got elected. And I've just sent Sam on Twitter a link to that tweet that Dinesh D'Souza sent out today.
I've got this thing and it's fucking valuable, guys. Y'all don't remember that? That's when Blagojevich basically got in trouble for saying. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, we're still here.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I was just whacking this
I
up on the
killed the
screen.
room.
We killed the room all the time.
Yeah.
Just squeeze
But
that.
Dinesh D'Souza with this, rather spiteful little tweet towards Preet Bharara. That's I don't know. That's not in Indian culture, is to go after somebody after you've won, right?
Rivalry
Yeah.
is a big part of a lot of cultures on the Indian subcontinent. You gotta keep in mind there are like so many tribal groups, and they each have their own different practices and their own different ways of speaking. If you try to squeeze India into one state as the post-colonial state of India has shown, you wind up with just infighting all the time, just like before the British Raj. It was just a bunch of infighting tribes.
Yeah.
And now there are infighting tribes that have other problems besides that. More formally, the millet system that they use for family courts and marriage courts leads to some pretty sick shit happening.
Oh yeah. That India just now finally passed a law offering the death penalty for like child rape.
I think that's probably not the thing that they need to be doing. Don't get me wrong. You need to be
Yeah,
punishing
well.
people who abuse children. Absolutely. But
Absolutely.
India has a lot more problems. Like, for example, the juvenile or rabies infection rate, land use policies, open defecation, more than all other states that report open defecation nationwide.
One of my personal favorites.
Now, let's take a look at the film history for Dinesh D'Souza. Let's see. He is the filmmaker behind the movies America, Imagine the World Without Her, and that was released in 2014. Marketed to political conservatives and through Christian marketing firms. That's always the way you want to go, especially with conservatives. You want to,
Yeah, he's got an understanding of optics. He's not a stupid guy. It's just, I don't know. I think he thinks that Bharara getting fired and him getting pardoned is like some sort of victory, but it's still like you can't get that part of your life back.
right.
Even if it was a trumped up rap, I mean, you still can't get that part of your life back. And being that spiteful over it, even though it does make for some really hot goss, is indicative of some pretty toxic personality traits.
And the second film that D'Souza made is Hillary's America, The Secret History of the Democratic Party. And this film has a 4% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, based on 27 professional reviews, with an average rating of 1.7 out of 10.
That is, wow.
That is abysmally low. The critics' consensus on the site, Hillary's America, The Secret History of the Democratic Party, finds Dinesh D'Souza once again preaching to the right-wing choir, albeit less effectively than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, this almost makes me think that Cool Cat Saves the Kids is a much better.
Oh, hands down. I mean, first off, it's a montage of 3 other movies, so you're getting basically 3 movies recut for the price of 1.
What?
And you don't have to sit through 3 Cool Cat movies. You can just sit
Yeah.
through 1 Cool Cat movie.
I'm like completely lost. What is the Cool Cat thing?
Cool Cat Saves the Kids is a film by Derek Savage compiling the hits Cool Cat, Cool Cat Saves Kids from Bullies, Cool Cat Teaches Gun Safety, and Cool Cat Goes to the Hollywood Parade.
Wow.
And he has like special guest Eric Estrada in his movie.
Well, don't forget Vivica A. Fox.
That was a war.
Yeah, I mean Fox and Estrada is, as long as you get the margaritas, and it's really telling that in a kids movie they're drinking margaritas and there's an obvious slur in their voices, and it's just like, is this really universal? Shouldn't this at least get a 13 certificate or a PG-13 because it depicts alcohol consumption? And that's very obviously margarita mix in that picture. Just baffles my mind, the oversight some people have. Of course, then again, this is coming from Derek Savage, the same guy who, on that Cool Cat page where, you know, children are supposed to go, he also details his former life as a Nashville-based male stripper. And it is just as cringeworthy as you would expect from.
He was in Playgirl magazine.
Oh, he also had a pictorial debut. Playgirl, I'm sorry. Thank you, Chris, for reminding me.
Cool Cat was in Playgirl.
Cool Cat?
Not the actor who plays Cool Cat, Derek Savage, the producer and creator.
Oh.
If Cool Cat had done that, I don't know what would my brain be doing right now. Maybe it's best that we never answer that question.
We should not go there. Just don't do it.
Oh yeah.
Needless to say, for our audience, if you have a choice between watching Derek Savage's Cool Cat Saves the Kids or Dinesh D'Souza's Hillary's America: The Secret of the Democratic Party, always go with Cool Cat.
I'm just curious. Does this thing even have a Rotten Tomatoes rating?
Right.
I gotta move the laptop inside, guys. It's starting to pour. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right. Now, I'll go into a little detail about why D'Souza was convicted here. On January 24th, 2014, D'Souza was arraigned in a Manhattan federal court on charges of making $20,000 in illegal campaign contributions to the New York Senate campaign of Wendy Long, and for causing false statements to be made to the Federal Election Commission. In May 2014, D'Souza pleaded guilty to one felony count of making illegal contributions in the names of others. In September 2014, the court sentenced D'Souza to 5 years probation, 8 months in a halfway house, referred to as a community confinement center, and a $30,000 fine. D'Souza's attorney had argued his client did not act with any corrupt or criminal intent whatsoever, and described the incident as, quote, at most an act of misguided friendship. His co-producers alleged that the indictment was politically motivated retribution for the success of his 2012 movie, 2016 Obama's America. Well, you know what? Campaign contributions to take lightly. And I can think of one, liberal celebrity in particular, Rosie O'Donnell, who earlier this month, the New York Post reported that she too had made, contributions in excess of the $2,700 amount election. And let's see, she made, nothing nefarious, the outspoken stars. So she's donated to Doug Jones for Alabama, $4,700. She donated to Representative Connor Lamb, $3,600. And there's been other campaign contributions. There is a way you can actually find this out on website opensecrets.org.
Thank goodness for watchdog sites.
Exactly. Yeah.
In
fact, I'm going to see if I can try to pull that up.
I'm just wondering how much of a buddy do you have to be to go a full order of magnitude over the contribution limit? Because I can think of, getting into a little bit of shit, but getting into literally, just under 10 times the shit that you normally would, you can there's a very clear point where you can stop.
Well, what do you want to bet that he's just doing this pissed off, still hasn't paid that $30,000 fine?
Oh, yeah. I can bet Barrar is probably fuming over that. Because once he's pardoned, I mean, granted, it remains on his record. It's pretty much treated as a sealed record, but he doesn't have to pay that money. It's like, yeah, it's still on his record. He pled guilty. A pardon is an admission of guilt, but he doesn't have to pay that money. The law gets weird sometimes. That's what I've learned over my few decades on this planet, is that the law gets really, really weird sometimes.
Okay, yeah, she's made quite a bit in contributions here, yeah.
I mean, at some point, when people are charging a political bias in one of your institutions, you probably shouldn't then shoot the messenger. Because, like,
right.
Oh, there's some corruption. Oh, you did something that's borderline corrupt. Which is essentially stab this guy while sparing everyone else. It's very obvious why. Because he made fun of the president, and even though he was Mr. Cool McSmooth, his administration was probably one of the most thin-skinned ones I've ever seen, as you could tell from the whole Roseanne debacle. Because Valerie Jarrett was in that dog pile of incest too, and yeah, she still hasn't learned.
I'm gonna post a screenshot really quickly here, and this is not doxing, you understand, even though it shows like basic address. This is not doxing, because these are opensecrets.org's, public records.
Yeah. If you got the goss from a watchdog site, it's definitely not dropping docs.
Right, exactly.
We have sunshine laws.
I don't want anybody listening to this to get this weird idea that we're out here doxing Rosie O'Donnell. I mean, that's obviously not what our intention here is.
Yeah.
We're just trying to show the pattern of her campaign contributions, and I can actually sort that. And here you go, Sam.
Okay.
There you go.
That looks interesting.
Yeah, I sorted those by most recent. He's actually been, making some significant contributions.
Yeah, those are not what I normally consider a small donor contribution.
No. 2,700 is the limit that you can donate to a candidate for, and 2,700 is the limit for the year on that.
Yeah, it's 2,700 per year. Per candidate.
Per year, per candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just throw that on here really quick.
And as you can see, I did include the URL for that in the top of my screen grab.
Oh boy.
It's a little jumbled, but like I said, if you go to open.org, this is your information. This is public, records. These are, people who are, contributing significant amounts of money to, politicians.
Oh yeah, that's legible on the full screen on my end. So
yeah,
this should give you a really good idea about why you should take a closer look at this website. Not saying that you should discriminate your taste based solely off of political contributions. If I just listen to people I agree with, I'd die of boredom. But it's pretty obvious that the rules are being bent, and that's one thing you can't really suffer in a republic, is having the rules bent to the point of breaking.
Now, the one thing that Rosie hasn't done, which Dinesh D'Souza was convicted of, was making donations in other people's names.
Oh yeah, that straw donor business is that's a big no-no.
Big no-no. Yeah. But as you can see by this list of, she's already donated $1,500 in 2018 to the campaign of Lauren A. Underwood. And let's see, it also shows her donations in 2017 to Connor Lamb, Andrew Jans. It's like 3,000 in donations to Jans. Another 1,000 to Connor Lamb. Christopher S. Murphy got $1,000. Adam Schiff got $250. Edward Meyer got full $2,700. Doug Jones got $2,700 as well. No, Doug Jones actually got $2,700 twice. And also, oh wow, I did not know that she had donated. She's got $2,700 donated to Amy McGrath's campaign as well out in Kentucky.
Man.
I mean, she's just all over the place. $2,700 3 times to Claire McCaskill, with 3 more $1,000 donations. Wow. I mean, it must be nice to be Rosie.
I mean, just a reminder, these are the people that are buying your representation away from you. That's a scary thought, is that these people make their reputations off of making people laugh or amusing them. I don't really know what Rosie's shtick was. I guess she was kind of funny.
She was just being Rosie,
Yeah.
especially on shows like The View now. She was just being Rosie.
Yeah, she's Adam Westing, essentially. And
Yeah.
I don't understand why these people sit here and take people's money, just do everything, take everybody's money, and the minute that comes time for everybody else to have a seat at the table, they're buying every single chair and sitting in it.
Well, I don't know if it's going to make a difference for Wrath that she's taken Rosie O'Donnell. Certainly, if you're Andy Barr out in the 6th District in Kentucky, you're going to probably look at this and figure out some way to send a nice mailer with Amy McGrath next to Rosie O'Donnell and Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, it's just too... I don't know why people feel the need to enter these races when they don't have any local stake. Like, if this were Ashley Judd making huge contributions to a Kentucky campaign, or I don't know who's a really big guy here.
Actually, you brought up a good point. I'm gonna search for Ashley Judd. Yeah, she's got some contributions here.
Representative Jared Solis is from this area.
Okay, or Jared Solis, if somebody were, I don't know. I mean, like a funny man, like a popular personality.
This'll throw you right in the keister. Ashley Judd gave $500 to Big Jim Gray's campaign.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going to be a worthwhile contribution.
Yes, let's support a mayor who let the heroin rate in Lexington spike out of control, and who still has a center point pit of despair in the middle of town.
Well, that's the thing. It's no longer just the pit of despair. It actually has Caisson sunk in it. There are things going on.
Right. Now, Ashley Judd's contributions, hell, I might as well get a screenshot of this as well so that we can get some base comparisons here. But, yeah, she's donated a little bit, mostly to Hillary Clinton and a couple of other groups. But, that's it. She's not, throwing money out the door to every Democrat left and right like Rosie O'Donnell is.
And as far as I'm concerned, these people should really just be keeping their money to the federal races. Just the presidential mostly. Just buy out whichever presidential candidate you want. They're all equally greasy. If you find one that suits your particular identity politics, go right ahead and buy one.
You should just do like Kim Basinger did and just buy your own town in Georgia, and then nobody gives a shit.
Oh yeah, that's the beauty of this, is that all these people can just have their federal presidential hype, and the rest of us can go back to managing our local jurisdictions and our local politics, and that would just be super swell. At least, well, I say at least, especially for the quote-unquote Democratic grassroots, because you can only astroturf so many times before the grass underneath dies.
Yeah, and it's all for corporatism Democrats now. It's not for anybody progressive. Well, I guess you could call Amy McGrath semi-progressive. I mean, I'm not going to go like, Jeff Young full retard and call her a war criminal.
Yeah, especially considering that I have no actual inclination or suspicion that this person has ever engaged in an act of hostility against a foreign nation.
Right. I mean, Jeff Young was just talking out of his ass. He was just hoping for that, extreme soundbite that, would get played on the news. It, got some news time, but that was it.
Okay, let me just transition.
And you got the, in Discord, you should have contributions. Yeah.
Should have had that.
Yeah.
Let me check.
You can see by Ashley Judd's contribution, she's not really all that active all that much. I mean, $500 to Jim Gray, the openly gay mayor of Lexington, Kentucky, which, is a good thing, but, it was good until he got inaugurated, and then he just became like every other mayor.
Well, what do you expect? State actors have path dependence, I should say. You can't really just elect somebody and change things overnight. There's a whole system that person has to work within, and a lot of that means letting those dreams die, sadly. Like, the idea that you can have universal health care and also, have a balanced budget or a social safety net that works equally well in other sectors without then having to ration care. Because a lot of people are complaining about the welfare spending in the UK, but here's the thing, they still spend a lot. It's not like somebody just magically cut the purse strings and took the money and run. They spend a lot. It's literally, there are so many people on welfare now from new arrivals and essentially going, we demand asylum, and because of safe harbor provision, they get bennies when they shouldn't, to be perfectly honest. And just this overwhelming sense of entitlement that you owe me this, you owe me that, and it's just, sure, that you do deserve to live in a country that has a reasonable standard of health care, where you can afford a reasonable material condition. And I mean reasonable as in the bare minimum required to sustain you. And at least that much. A warrant that the state should at least provide that much of a material condition.
But I'm going to send you a third image here, and just because we're going to be radio, and we're not going to leave anybody out, we're going to go with the person that Ashley Judd wronged, and that is Harvey Weinstein. Let's take a look at Harvey Weinstein's campaign contributions here. And right at the top of the list on October 10th, 2017, you can see that Mr. Harvey Weinstein donated $23,225 to the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee.
Let me just throw that up really quick here.
Yeah.
And change the URL here. Is that? Yes, that is it. And
wow, he even threw two $2,700 donations same day in 2015 to Chuck Schumer.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Just hit that transition button there. That's That really is something to basically look the person in the face who basically just cost you your livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, here's some money. Just stop. How about you just stop?
And what gets me is that the Democrats obviously have to have known for some time that Harvey Weinstein's donations are going to be a problem for them, but none of them have tried to, do anything about it or give back the money.
Yeah, I mean, be fair, his donation history is, what do you say? It's a bit better. Like, his portfolio isn't so much, hey, I'm trying to buy influence. It's more like, hey, I'm actually.
Oh no, he is trying to buy influence. The influence, and there's a nice little photo for our transition right there. But the influence that he's trying to buy is a special kind of influence. It's the influence that allows him to set up CGI server farms in Sri Lanka and pay CGI artists a pittance of what they're worth.
I mean, you could just do that in Vancouver, LA.
Oh, even Vancouver is like Springfield in the Simpsons episode where they were filming the Radioactive Man movie. Oh, there's a $1,000 leaving town.
Yeah, that's an actual thing in some jurisdictions, especially Hollywood, because the union's up everybody's ass. There we go.
Yeah, is at some point Hillary going to give back Harvey Weinstein, where Harvey Weinstein is literally the epicenter of the Me Too movement?
Well, I would say he was a bit of a bête noire for the Me Too movement in its most current incarnation. This thing has been going pretty much as long as the feminist identity politics have in their current iteration. That's kind of the hard thing that makes it hard to pin these things down.
Would Me Too even have come out under Hillary if she had been elected?
Oh no.
No, I don't think so.
Like, that's the thing. Me Too before this was fairly kind of under the shadows, under the radar. They didn't really have the hashtag campaign as big as it is now. It was kind of more just, hey, I've been victimized too, and that's an all right sentiment in starting to deal with the trauma of sexual victimization.
Well, it's not just sexual now. I mean, look at Jessica Walter, Arrested Development, and how her co-stars were gaslighting her in real time.
Yeah, well...
And not even over sexual abuse. It was over just verbal abuse.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, is just when people
perceive uncomfortability.
When people think that their indignation or their offense is remediable outside of the legal standard of remedy, all sorts of crazy things happen. That's where vigilantism comes from. That's kind of the great misconception about vigilantism, is that it's about people fulfilling the law when the law doesn't. It's more about enacting petty vengeance on entire families and individuals who really did not need to be maimed or killed. I mean, and the left encourages this. That's what disturbs me as somebody who's fairly left of center, is, as far as I'm concerned, liberalism should be I do me, you do you, and if we can agree on the big problems and not try to micromanage everybody, then we can maybe make a better world, a better society. But they don't want that. They want endless victimization. They want endless persecutory delusions. It riles me up a bit sometimes. Like, I just sit there, put the caps lock on, R, and then hold the E button for maximum autistic screeching, because it's all I can do sometimes.
I have no mouth and I must read.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
Now, the whole Me Too movement, it would have taken off in a different direction. Actor on the Star Trek reboot for CBS.
Oh, Anthony Rapp.
Making the claims against Kevin Spacey.
I wish that had gone more, and then people would have gone, hey, men get sexually abused too. Sometimes even by women. It's like it's not always some New York-based impresario with an Academy Award-winning resume. Sometimes it's, the talent staff or a producer. It doesn't matter. That place is just rotten to the core, and if people stay too long in it, they end up thinking that the world owes them everything. It doesn't matter whether they got a vulva or a penis or some weird combination of the two.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that in a moment. Wild card topic here.
Yeah.
Wrap up the show.
Just people, for whatever reason, when that limelight hits them, they don't know where their feelings start and other people's rights begin.
I was going to say something here. I've completely lost track now.
Yeah, it's been hard to keep this in my head as well.
Yeah, we'll just go ahead and go to a wild card topic, and that is fish vagina.
Oh, yes. I'm glad
Now,
we brought the weird
This
news.
is a story that kind of caught my attention earlier today. And let's see here. Yeah, here it is from the Daily Mail. Woman born without vagina has one made out of fish skin. Let's see. A woman born without a vagina has become the first in the world to undergo reconstructive to have one built out of fish skin. Josiane Marrino, 23, from Ceará, Brazil, underwent a neovaginoplasty in April last year after being born with Meyer-Rokitansky-Kusterhaus left her with no cervix, uterus, or ovaries, meaning she will never have children. The procedure, performed at the Federal University of Ceará, involved creating an opening where Miss Marrino's vagina should have been before inserting a genital-shaped mold lined with the skin of the freshwater fish tilapia. The fish skin was then absorbed into her body and transformed into tissue that lines the vaginal tract. After spending 3 weeks in hospital, Ms. Marrino, the first of 4 patients given the procedure, was discharged and is now thrilled with the results. She said, "My family." Oh, it's okay. She said, "My family and friends took me out to toast my new vagina." Okay. Exactly. And I posted a link for that in Discord. But I like how she's saying that my family going out and toasting our new vagina. 2 vaginas. That's a pretty serious condition if it leaves you literally like a Barbie doll. Basically, she just had a little tiny hole that she peed out of. Yeah, that'll do it. Now, how rare is this condition? Ooh. You okay, Slander Bob? I saw that chasing your.
Yeah, just out of breath. I had to chase a little fucker across in my wheelchair. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
I came down here to move the laptop in the garage out of the rain, and she made a fucking run for it.
Is she a Jack Russell?
No, but she is a terrier. She's a fucking Shih Tzu.
Yeah.
She's something mixed, man. A Shih Tzu Yorkie mix. Stubborn little asshole.
So yeah, we're talking about fish vagina.
Oh yay! What's it on? You know what they say? I mean, if it smells like salmon, keep on jamming. If it smells like trout, you got to throw it out. I think that might apply here.
Yeah, I think it does too.
You know, just morbid curiosity.
Well, yeah, you can lead a completely normal life without having children. In fact, you'll lead a much normal, healthier life. There's a link for what Miss Marhino's fish, and it's safe for work. Yeah.
That shit kind of looks like the thing from water.
The thing from what?
The Shape of Water.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we went there.
Yeah, I'll go there. I'm not afraid.
I wonder if people are going to start nicknaming her.
It's like a cross between that and a fucking slee stack. Slee stack tattoo.
It amazes me that it's tilapia fish.
My wife just joined us. I want to fill her in on this. Can you just give her a brief, tell her what happened there again?
Oh, about the dog getting out?
No, not about the dog getting out. About the woman with the fish vagina.
Oh, fish vagina. Okay, yeah, I'll post a link for that in our YouTube chat. So.
Yeah.
And
there real quick.
Yeah, the link is above you in the Discord, Slander Bob.
Yeah, I got it. I'm explaining it to her off mic for a second.
No, honey, she was born without a vagina, and they had to graft one made from a tilapia fish.
Yeah. There you go. It's one the short version of it.
Yeah.
The Warski / Cliff Notes.
I wonder, did they have to do like a mold of her boyfriend's penis so that they knew what size to make it approximately? So,
what did you say, hon?
Not so fresh feeling.
well, now I guess her boyfriend's going to be able to Mr. Biscuits.
Mr. Biscuits. There was something rotten in Denmark long ago. Now it's moved to Brazil.
It's definitely south of the border.
Yeah, Carol, fish vagina. It's an excellent source of omega-3s, guys. Let's not forget our, our daily nutrients.
You can get your lamb skin, fish skin.
There you go. Right.
Hey, this might mean that Maddox will get that tilapia penis after him. Yeah.
To eat more fish.
Well, what is he packing? Oh my God.
He couldn't get laid if he was hanging like Holmes with a lot of bills in his teeth in a whorehouse.
Ooh. God. Yeah, you told me last night.
Oh, yeah.
I can't.
Mm.
It's funny. You keep saying Len now and Christian. I'm trying to merge the two, and I'm like, yeah. Where are those guys from? Where's this lawsuit being held at? What state? Gotcha. James McGill. That's just 55. Thank you for remembering my brain. You Captain.
And they were trying very hard to explain to the judge what cuck was.
Oh wow. Oh man, what I would give to be a fly on that.
Oh, Sam, here's a new picture for you for our stream.
I'm gonna post a link in the fucking on YouTube.
Oh, to show everybody the fish vagina.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Here they come, folks.
Warning, you will not be as turned on as you think you
Oh wow, look at this picture of Hillary and Weinstein.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that, you know, Hillary knows the dirty secrets of Harvey Weinstein's casting couch. And that was a brilliant brilliant legal strategy by his lawyer to say that, Your Honor, my client didn't invent the casting couch.
No, and that is just typical, lawyer, just media, Hollywood machine, fucking lawyer, typical thing to say.
And obviously the judges thought it had to be a frivolous.
Hold on a minute, guys. I've got to put.
All right.
Just looking at this thing, I'm starting to jump off the topic that is. Oh my God! It's really starting to hit me now.
What, fish vagina?
Yeah.
Show that to your wife.
Oh yeah.
Hey, honey, you gotta see this.
Fuck. What is that thing next to it? Yeah.
The thing that looks like a tampon tube.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
Or like one of those little miniature rocket kid, and you'd send them up the field.
And then Bob's your auntie. Now she's not going to be born. She's not going to have a clitoris, obviously. Oh. That's a rather interesting way of describing it. Well, it's getting to be midnight now, so
Sure.
wrap this up. Slander Bob, did you have anything to say about fish vagina?
No, it's all pretty much been said for me. There's not much more I can add at this point, and as tired as I am, brain will
I think only the doctor could add more to this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Old Dr. Octagon could take a stab at it. There's a horse in the hospital.
Now, do we want to try to run tomorrow night? Yeah, a shortened show, like an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get the Streamlab donations going. At. Yes,
really appreciate it.
By all means, smash that dislike button or smash that like button. Smash a button.
Smash a button that's connected to your bank account, more preferably.
But don't smash your belly button because that's gonna hurt. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And go to streamlabs.com/rain delay radio. And I have been Governor Rocknar, aka Randolph.
And I've been Slander Bob, the dog catcher.
And this has been Rain Delay Radio, episode number 2. Thank you and good night, and we'll see you later.
Take care, everybody.